T-35. B-1 Ter. Neubofahrzeug. Type 95 Rogo. Independent. All of these tanks have something in common. They have gargantuan size. They are very slow. They have multiple turrets. They have high number of crew members, and they are Tier 1 premium vehicles. Let's look at them individually.
Number 1.
The T-35 was a Soviet multi-turreted landship of the interwar period, and the only 5-turreted heavy tank in the world to ever reach mass production, but proved to be slow and mechanically unreliable. The construction of this machine was heavily inspired by the British Independent, which we will cover in this video as well. Despite its obsolete construction, and limited production of only 61 tanks, it saw extensive combat deployment during Second World War. One tank survived up until today, and is preserved in running condition at the Kubinka Tank Museum near Moscow. In War Thunder, the T-35 is a premium rank 1 Russian heavy tank, with a battle rating of 1.3. It was introduced in 2014, 5 years ago. This tank holds significant War Thunder record. It has 10 crew members, meaning getting destroyed because of dead crew will almost never happen. And if it does, then after long struggle from your enemies, likely multiple of them shooting at you at the same time. It has a rather poor armor thickness, but excellent internal layout, and massive number of crew being placed in 4 separate turrets is making this tank extremely hard to get rid of. The T-35 is slow and even less maneuverable, mostly because of its size. That is its major and only weakness, but only to a degree. It has 4 turrets, with 3 of them being armed with cannons. That's where its another major strength comes to play. One of its turret is facing backwards, making flanking enemies extremely easy to get rid of, regardless where they are coming from. It has more than decent penetration, and the explosive ammo filler for the 75mm gun is massive, meaning, one-shotting enemies is a thing. This behemoth is probably the most enjoyable and best low-tier super tank. I highly recommend it. You cannot go wrong with it, even as a newbie.
Number 2.
The Char B-1 was a French specialized breakthrough vehicle, manufactured before World War II. It was among the most powerfully armed and armored tanks of its day, and was very effective in direct confrontation with German armor in 1940 during the Battle of France. Slow speed and high fuel consumption made it ill-adapted to the blitzkrieg. After the defeat of France, these massive vehicles were used by Germany, with some rebuilt as flamethrowers, munition vehicles, or mechanized artillery. The B-1 Ter was an up-armored version of the BIS with only 2 prototypes ever built. In War Thunder, the Char de Bataille B-1 Ter is a gift rank 2 French heavy tank, with a battle rating 2.3, making it the highest BR vehicle in this video. It was introduced in Update 1.75 La Resistance together with the rest of the French ground tech tree. This tank is absolutely amazing, and I had a hard time not putting it on the first place, mostly because of a lack of secondary turret. The armor being its main strength, this beastly machine has side armor being effectively thick to up 200mm when angled, front and turret easily reaching 100mm. Armor profile and several plates being placed behind each other, is making this tank practically unkillable, unless being heavily focused, which you will shortly see from the gameplay in front of you. It has decent armor penetration for both guns, with the 75mm being stuck in forward-facing position. You can go guns blazing and lure enemy fire on you, because that is how you win battles with this tank. Take the shots and let your friendlies do the rest. I love this baby, and had a great time playing it. Highly recommended if it ever appears again, but right now, this tank is not available anymore.
Number 3.
Newly built vehicle, which is its exact name translated from German, was a series of interwar prototype heavy tanks built for Wehrmacht. Their design was based on obsolete construction idea and their production was not pursued further. Only 5 of them were ever produced. The prototypes were primarily used for propaganda purposes, and they became very successful at it, up to the point where whole Western world believed that these machines are being produced en masse. German tank crews were trained specifically for this tank, before they could even see it, which only amplified their propaganda significance. Wehrmacht was literally training tank crews for tank that they never intended to deploy. Only 3 of these tanks ever took part in combat, in the Battle of Norway in 1940. Let's talk War Thunder. This vehicle is a Rank 1 German heavy tank with a battle rating of 1.3. It was introduced in Update 1.51 Cold Steel. Regardless of its imposing size, its armor is actually the weakest of these 5 tanks, but you don't need armor for a tank to be competitive. This German machine has great crew compartment and internal armor layout with crew being placed far from each other, which means singular shot will rarely knock out majority of your crew members. It has 2 decent guns, mounted coaxially in a single turret, with up to 84 mm of penetration, which for battle rating 1.3 is more than enough. Beware though, the turret has rather poor traverse. Flanking enemies are serious threat and not to be taken lightly. Despite its slow speed, it has great power-to-weight ratio, making it accelerate very fast. All in all, with this tank, you want to let your enemies push to your position. Don't rush anywhere. Especially if that means leaving your flanks exposed. It can handle several charging enemies thanks to its double configuration cannon, and can take quite a punch. Very enjoyable tank, I highly recommend it.
Number 4.
This tank is a long schlong. Ha ha ha, how old are you? 14? Vickers A1E1 Independent is a multi-turreted tank that was designed by the British armaments manufacturer Vickers between the First and Second World Wars. It only ever reached the prototype stage and only a single example was built, but the construction influenced many other tank designs, including the vehicles in this video. The tank was never used in combat and it remained in use for experiments until 1935, when it was worn out and retired to Bovington Tank Museum, where it is preserved until today. In War Thunder, the A1E1 Independent is a premium Rank 1 British heavy tank with a battle rating of 1.3. It was introduced in Update 1.63 Desert Hunters in 2016. This piece of history, or rather piece of trash, has 8 crew members, which you would normally consider to be significant benefit. But they are placed next to each other and squashed like sardines, meaning single shot will often knock out the majority of your crew members. Rather thin armor is not helping. If you thought its armaments might make up for it, I recommend to reconsider. It has only single cannon armed turret, being able to shoot shells with 49 mm of penetration, which is nothing to write home about. Especially, when you consider that other tanks with the same designation in this video have at least 2 turrets with cannons. Not independent. 4 of these turrets are armed with low-caliber machine guns, and they have rather poor elevation, making them unusable against close air support. It's rather slow, very long and cannot maneuver. I very much dislike it. There is not a single major benefit to this tank, and I had a hard time enjoying it. I thought this tank was really bad, but I was about to be surprised. Let me show you why.
Number 5.
This is the worst premium tank in War Thunder, change my mind. With 26 tons of weight, it became the largest Japanese tank of its time. Only 4 prototypes were ever produced in 1934, until the concept was cancelled before going to mass production. It proved to be a complicated design with poor mobility. In War Thunder and on paper, this tank doesn't look bad. It has all-right armor, 1 rear-facing turret, meaning there will be at least 1 crew member left after getting shot from the front, and 2 cannon-armed turrets. Sounds right, but no. It is extremely slow, very high and has terrible crew layout, meaning the majority of your crew will often get knocked out, leaving the single crew member at the back alive, which is not enough to leave the tank operable. The armor profile is rather simple and squarish, making it not really effective. But the major reason why this tank is the biggest piece of trash I have ever played, is its guns. The 37mm cannon has only 33mm of penetration, rendering it completely useless and being able to kill calmly standing trees at best. The 70mm gun is equally bad, unless you are using heat rounds, but frankly, that is not enough, especially when combined with absolutely terrible muzzle velocity, making it extremely hard to hit targets accurately, mostly on long distances. The only people buying this tank are masochists and those who like it rough. I do not recommend this tank, especially for new players. Don't ask me how I got those kills, I don't know that. Thanks for watching. Creating my single video takes roughly 15 hours of time, so recommend my channel to your friends, because I can only keep my motivation for so long, if there won't be any views. Stay simple, stay in touch.